Hey guys, Pastor JJ here. I had a story that I wanted to share, and I was gonna include this in my sermon this past Sunday, but it was Easter Sunday, and the sermon was getting kind of long, and so I cut it for time. But I think it's a pretty cool story, and so I just wanted to share it with you here. Currently, I am living in Freeland, Michigan. We are in the process of selling our home, and we're moving to Grand Rapids. But I have already started my job as the pastor at a church, the Center Church in Byron Center, which is just south of Grand Rapids, which is where we're moving to. So we're in the process of buying a house and we're moving over. And so I'm commuting twice a week to Grand Rapids. It's about 2 hours, 2 hours, 15 minutes to get from my home currently to where I work. And because I'm commuting so often, what I've been doing is I've been loading up the car with just a ton of boxes and stuff, right? We've got a minivan. I take the car seats out and we load it up with stuff and I take it over. And so last week on Tuesday, I had to be there for a meeting at 8 a.m. And what I found is I could get there if I leave by like 5:30 a.m. It's an early morning, but if you get up a little early, it's not too bad. There are some days where we have crashed on family, crashed on couches with family and stuff, and then I could just get up a little later. But this time I was going to drive over nice and early in the morning. So it's 5:30 in the morning. I'm driving across the state, and it's raining, and it's gross. I don't know if if you guys remember last Tuesday, not this past one, just a couple days ago, but last week. It was cold and wet and rainy, and I'm driving across the state, and on the side of the road, and if you guys, I don't know if you ever drive across the state of Michigan, there's so many rural back roads. If you're not on the main highways, it's just 55-mile-per-hour rural roads, and these roads, they have like ditches off the side of them, and then there's no shoulder, right? And I was driving, and it was in the rain, it was dark, and it was cold, and there was like a rusty muffler on the side of the road, and I clipped it. I saw it, and I jerked a little, but not fast enough, and my back tire clipped it, and I got a flat tire. So now it's 6 a.m. and I'm in the mud, and I'm on the side of this road. It's farmlands in every direction. And I pulled over on the shoulder, but I'm still like halfway out into the road, right? And there's no room, and I have to change this tire. Now, one of the crazy things is we own a set of winter tires and a set of all-season tires. And I just happen to be, and we have them on rims, so I can actually change them, right? I have an all-season tires, and it just so happened that day I was transporting our 4 all-season tires in my van. It was like it was in the van, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. I have the tire. So I get the tire out of the car, and I start to change it. I put the jack under, and I'm cranking it up, and it's raining, and it's cold, and it's gross out, and cars are driving by, and I'm in the mud, and I start to crank it, and I realize the car is not going up. And I look, and you know how those cranks are. They're like this, and it's getting like this, and it's not going up. The crank is sinking down into the mud. And I'm not very much a handy guy, so I'm cranking, and I'm doing the thing I'm supposed to do, and it's not working. And I have no idea what to do. And I'm late for my meeting, and I'm in the middle of nowhere, and I don't know. And so I had this like panic moment. Right, this moment where I'm looking at the problem in front of me, and I almost broke down. I was like, I lack, right? I don't have enough. I don't know what to do. I can't do this. I can't fix this problem. And so I did what I have trained myself to do in those situations, because they come up a lot in life. I reached out for Jesus. I just cried out for Jesus, and I'm in the rain, covered in mud, cars splashing me, and I just said, I have to give it to you, God, because I can't do this myself. I can't do it on my own. It was very dramatic. I was in a mood, and so it's like I'm crying out in the rain, and the rain's falling on me, and I'm just kind of yelling at God. There's no one around, and so I cried out to God. And so I prayed, and then I cooled off. I was like, okay, how can we handle this? And I undo the crank, and I go and I get the floor pad from the passenger side, and I stick it underneath the crank to kind of keep the crank from sinking into the mud. And I crank the car back up, and that kind of works, but it's still starting to sink. And so it's like, crank, 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 get the tire on as fast as you can. And it was crazy. It kind of worked. I got the tire on, tightened it up. I'm good to go. And so then I pull into my meeting, right, at the offices where the pastors meet for our teaching team. We do it every week. And I pull into this meeting and I walk in. I'm a half an hour late. I smell like mud and cow poop. My coat is ruined. And I come in and I'm just like grinning. I was so elated. I was so weirdly happy. And part of that is just my personality. My wife will tell you that I'm like the human embodiment of SpongeBob SquarePants. Like, I'm just a happy, positive, upbeat person. But the other part of it is that the fact that even when I'm having a terrible morning and everything seems to be going against me and it was just this insane, I can't believe it, I had this moment where I was like, you know what though? Praise God that it just happened to be the day when I was transporting those tires. Because if I didn't have that tire, we didn't have a spare tire. So I would have been completely out of luck, but God did give me a way out. And so even when I am muddy and exhausted and late, I'm still loved by God. And that was all I really needed to be content and satisfied with life, was that God still loves me, even when I'm muddy and messy and late. And I don't know, I found that really encouraging. And I know that was kind of a long story, but I just wanted to share that with you. You are loved even when you're messy and muddy and it feels like everything is falling apart and the whole world's against you. It's not. The God who made you loves you. And that was kind of the thrust of the message on Sunday, and I thought I'd share with you this little extra piece. So you guys have a good day. Bye.